Have you ever watched a family fall apart on TV, but instead of feeling sorry for them, you find yourself questioning the very foundation of their relationships? That's exactly what we've seen with Cody and Robyn Brown. From gaslighting the other wives to twisting the truth to suit their needs, these two have created a toxic environment that's left fans shaking their heads. One of the most shocking moments was when Cody outright said, "I'm not going to fight for you anymore," to Christine after years of emotional manipulation. Can you imagine hearing that from your own husband? It was a brutal moment, but one that's emblematic of the controlling, narcissistic behavior Cody and Robyn have displayed throughout the series. Hey, friends! Welcome back to TLC's Sister Wives Secret. I'm Oliva, and if you've been following the Brown family drama as closely as I have, you know that Cody and Robyn's toxic behavior has been something we just can't ignore. Over the years, we've seen how their actions have torn apart relationships, manipulated the truth, and shifted the entire family dynamic. It's not just about polygamy anymore, it's about power, control, and the unhealthy narrative they've crafted to stay on top. In today's video, we're diving deep into the manipulative power plays of Cody and Robyn. We'll break down their narcissistic behaviors, how they've gaslighted the other wives, and how the family has been forced into submission. Trust me, this is going to be a juicy one. So grab a snack, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment with your thoughts on how you think the family has evolved or devolved over the years. You won't want to miss this analysis of the toxic dynamics at play. When Cody and Robyn's relationship first began to blossom, it was clear that something was shifting within the Brown family dynamic. What started as a love story in a polygamous family quickly turned into a storm that would shake the very foundation of their relationships. Cody, the patriarch of the family, was always the central figure. But with Robyn's arrival, everything began to change. It was almost as if her entrance into the family shifted the balance of power, and not for the better. What was once a relatively cohesive family structure now started to unravel in subtle but disturbing ways. Robyn's role in this transformation can't be ignored. From the very beginning, she knew exactly how to play her cards. It was almost like she studied the art of emotional manipulation before joining the family. Robyn used guilt as one of her most powerful weapons. She'd often pull on Cody's heartstrings, playing the victim or positioning herself as the one who needed his attention the most. Remember those moments when she'd speak softly about how difficult it was to blend into a polygamous family? Her tears would flow freely, and Cody, being the protector he believes himself to be, would rush to her side. But here's the kicker. Robyn wasn't just playing Cody, she was also playing the other wives. She would guilt trip them, often making them feel like they weren't doing enough or weren't understanding enough of her position in the family. And in turn, Cody would use his power to reinforce this narrative. He'd back Robyn up, telling the other wives they needed to support her, whether they liked it or not. This wasn't just a one-time thing. This was a pattern that became clearer as time went on. As for Cody, well, his role in all of this is crucial. Cody has always been a controlling figure, but with Robyn, his behavior escalated. He's shown time and time again that he thrives on power. And what better way to feel powerful than by isolating the women who have stood by him for years and turning them against each other? His narcissism is on full display as he manipulates the situation to make himself appear as the victim in every scenario. His constant need for validation and attention makes him unable to truly see the feelings or needs of his other wives. Cody's favoritism toward Robyn became glaringly obvious, and he made no effort to hide it. In fact, he seemed to relish in the drama it caused. Early on, we began to see the first signs of dysfunction. The rift between Christine and Cody, for example, didn't just appear overnight. It started slowly, with small, subtle actions that eventually snowballed into something much bigger. Christine, who had been one of the most vocal and confident wives in the family, began to feel isolated. Cody would prioritize Robyn's needs, ignoring Christine's emotional turmoil. He would often brush off her concerns, leaving her to feel unheard and abandoned. At the same time, he'd gaslight Meri, making her feel like she was the one who was overreacting. These small, manipulative actions began to take a toll on the family. Cody's emotional distance from his other wives became more apparent, and Robyn, despite being the newest wife, was placed in the center of the family. essentially becoming Cody's emotional anchor while the others were left floundering. The effect this had on the wives was devastating. Meri, who had already been struggling with the breakdown of her relationship with Cody, found herself gaslit and isolated even more. She'd go through moments of emotional turmoil, only to have Cody downplay her feelings or redirect the conversation toward Robyn's needs. The message was clear. Robyn mattered more. Meanwhile, Christine, who was already dealing with the emotional weight of Cody's attention shifting away from her, began to question her place in the family. The tension between Christine and Cody became unbearable. But it wasn't just the two of them. Janelle, too, felt the strain. While she tried to hold it together and stay focused on her own relationships with Cody and the family, the weight of Cody's shifting loyalties became more and more difficult to ignore. It wasn't just about polygamy anymore. It was about manipulation, control, and emotional warfare. The Brown family, once united, was now divided. And at the heart of it all was Cody, who was either blind to the damage he was causing or simply didn't care. Robyn, too, played a central role in this growing dysfunction, using guilt, emotional manipulation, and control tactics to further isolate herself from the other wives while cementing her status as Cody's top priority. What we were seeing on screen wasn't just the breakdown of a polygamous family, it was the unraveling of trust, respect, and genuine love. And it was all happening under the guise of family unity. The impact on the family was undeniable. These early signs were just the beginning of a toxic journey, one that would see the wives slowly crumble under the pressure of Cody and Robyn's manipulation. Gaslighting. It's a term we hear often, especially when it comes to relationships built on manipulation, control, and emotional abuse. And if there's one thing we can't deny about Cody and Robyn's relationship, it's how perfectly they've mastered the art of gaslighting. They've turned rewriting history and invalidating others' feelings into an Olympic sport. But don't just take my word for it. Let's dive into some of the most notable moments where gaslighting wasn't just a tactic, but a strategy to control the narrative in the Brown family. One of the most glaring examples of gaslighting took place during the infamous Meri and Cody's failed marriage saga. Remember that heartbreaking moment when Cody essentially told Meri that she was making things up, when she expressed how hurt she was by his actions? The coldness in his words was chilling. He completely invalidated her feelings. Instead of acknowledging that there were deep issues in their relationship, Cody gaslighted Meri into questioning her own perceptions of reality. "I'm not the one who's been failing in this marriage, Meri," he told her, turning her pain into an issue of her own making. This wasn't just a misstep in communication. It was a blatant attempt to rewrite their shared history, positioning himself as the wronged party, all while leaving Meri emotionally drained and gasping for validation. And then there's Robyn, who's the master of emotional manipulation. With her, it's subtle, almost passive aggressive. She knows exactly how to use her tears and vulnerability to control Cody. During moments of conflict, she has this way of making it seem like she's the one who needs Cody the most, emotionally speaking. And it's as if everyone else needs to take a backseat to her fragility. Take, for instance, the time when Robyn tearfully talked about how she felt like an outsider in the family. It wasn't just a simple expression of loneliness, it was a calculated attempt to make the other wives feel guilty for not understanding her position. By positioning herself as the victim in need of support, Robyn placed the other wives on the defensive. Cody, ever the protector, would rush in to defend her, making it seem like the other wives were at fault for not being more supportive. This emotional manipulation created a divide, leaving Robyn with a monopoly on Cody's emotional attention. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. Cody, always the master of manipulation, has a way of making himself the center of every narrative. Whether it's about his emotional needs, his frustrations with the wives, or his vision of what polygamy should look like, Cody knows how to turn himself into the victim or even the hero of every situation. This was on full display during the dramatic fallout between him and Christine. At one point, Cody claimed that Christine was not being respectful of him, even though it was obvious to viewers and Christine herself that the underlying issue was Cody's blatant favoritism toward Robyn. Instead of admitting to his actions, he made it seem like Christine's behavior was the real problem. He positioned himself as the one who was hurt, claiming he had been emotionally neglected by his other wives. It was a classic case of gaslighting. He wasn't just rewriting history, he was distorting reality, making it look like he was the one who had been wronged by everyone else. Now let's talk about the star of this emotional manipulation game, Robyn. Robyn has perfected the art of controlling Cody's emotions. While Cody has always been somewhat of an emotional leader in the family, Robyn's ability to influence him is unparalleled. Every time Cody gets upset, stressed, or hurt by something, Robyn is there to comfort him, to tell him what he wants to hear, to validate his feelings. But it's not just comfort, it's control. She knows exactly how to make herself the emotional anchor he needs. And once she has him hooked, she uses that influence to bend the family dynamic to her will. Robyn has positioned herself as the chosen one, the one who can fix Cody's emotional needs. And this role gives her power not just over him, but over the entire family. Let's look at how both Cody and Robyn have crafted their own version of events to manipulate how the public and the other wives view them. Over the years, they've managed to turn themselves into sympathetic characters in the eyes of the viewers. Cody, with his emotional outbursts and claims of being the victim, has carefully curated an image of himself as the strong patriarch who is constantly misunderstood. Robyn, too, has cultivated an image of the sweet, fragile wife who just wants to fit in, yet is always being victimized by the other wives' coldness or jealousy. The reality? Well, it's a lot darker. Both have rewritten the truth so many times that the real history of their relationships with the other wives is completely obscured. We, as viewers, are left questioning what's true, what's fabricated. And then there's Meri and Christine, whose struggles have been particularly painful to watch. Christine, who at one point was seen as the voice of reason and a confident member of the family, found herself gaslighted time and time again. Take that emotional conversation between her and Cody, when she expressed that she felt like she was losing him. Cody, instead of validating her feelings, accused her of being dramatic and too sensitive. What's worse? The fact that Robyn was sitting right there, watching the whole thing, offering nothing but silence. It was like watching a show where the drama was scripted, and the victim was forced to stand alone while the others played their parts. Christine, despite all her emotional honesty, was left gasping for air as Cody manipulated her into feeling like she was the one at fault. Meri's situation is no less tragic. She had been through so much emotional pain, and yet Cody's treatment of her was often dismissive. But what's even more disturbing is the way Robyn would often step in and act as if she were the one who truly understood Meri's pain, but only in a way that further isolated Meri from the rest of the family. Robyn's attempts to take on the role of the emotional mediator left Meri even more alone and gaslighted. Robyn knew how to use Cody's emotional weaknesses to her advantage, keeping herself firmly in the center of the family drama. Now, it's not just Cody and Robyn who are responsible for this toxic dynamic. The network and production team behind Sister Wives have played a role in facilitating this narrative. With their constant focus on creating moments of tension and conflict, they've encouraged the very behavior that we see on screen. The drama is a key part of the show's appeal. And while it's easy to blame Cody and Robyn for manipulating the situation, let's not forget that the production team has often been complicit. They've used the emotional chaos to drive viewership, helping to craft a narrative that fuels the gaslighting and control tactics that Cody and Robyn employ. The lines between reality and manipulation have blurred, and it's difficult to tell where the real emotional pain ends and where the scripted drama begins. But when you step back and look at it all, the gaslighting, the control, the emotional manipulation, one thing becomes clear. This is a toxic cycle that has hurt so many people, and the narrative they've tried to create is nothing short of an illusion. Cody Brown is, without a doubt, a master of narcissism. And it's not just a passing trait, it's the lens through which he interacts with his wives, controls the family, and manipulates every situation to suit his needs. In many ways, his narcissism isn't just about his ego, it's about control. Cody thrives on having everyone in his life revolve around him. He's not just the patriarch, He's the self-appointed emotional center of the family. The way he holds power over the wives is a study in emotional manipulation. He doesn't need to scream or shout to dominate. Instead, he plays a subtler game, withholding, distorting truth, and making his wives feel dependent on him for validation. Let's look at how this plays out. Cody uses the one thing that ties his wives to him, polygamy, as a means of isolating them from each other. The more divided they are, the easier it is for him to control them. He encourages a sense of competition, making subtle digs here and there to create tension. He even goes as far as to pit them against one another emotionally. You see it when he claims he's more connected to one wife over the others, or when he praises Robyn while barely acknowledging the other wives' emotional needs. This isn't just favoritism, it's a strategic tactic to keep everyone in line and prevent them from forming strong alliances that could challenge his authority. Robyn, though, is a willing accomplice in this dynamic. As Cody's emotional anchor, she has carved out a position where she's the chosen one in the family. It's clear that she knows how to wield her power, especially when it comes to manipulating Cody's emotions. She has a way of positioning herself as the one who understands him best, the one who can soothe his frustrations when the other wives fail to do so. She plays the role of the emotional caretaker, ensuring that Cody's attention is constantly focused on her, while the other wives are left to fend for themselves. This creates a toxic dynamic where Robyn and Cody are the power couple, and the rest of the wives, Meri, Christine, and Janelle, are left to pick up the scraps. But the worst part? It's not just the manipulation between Cody and Robyn. It's the way they use their power to isolate the other wives emotionally. Cody, especially, has perfected the art of making promises to his wives, promises of time, affection, and emotional support that he never intends to keep. Take Christine, for example. In earlier seasons, she frequently expressed how much she wanted to be a part of Cody's life, to feel like a valued wife. And yet, time and time again, Cody let her down. His promises of better emotional availability never came through. Instead, he'd use vague language like, "I'll try to do better," only to fall back into old patterns. These empty promises aren't just frustrating, they're emotionally damaging. It's a classic form of emotional neglect, where one partner constantly makes you feel like your needs are secondary, just to keep you hanging on with false hope. To wrap things up, it's clear that Cody and Robyn's toxic power dynamics have taken a heavy toll on everyone involved. Their manipulative, gaslighting, and narcissistic behaviors created an environment where the other wives were forced into submission, emotionally drained, and isolated. From Christine's heartbreaking departure to Meri's emotional collapse, the manipulation has played out in devastating ways. Cody has positioned himself as the victim or the hero in his own narrative, while Robyn has wielded her influence to maintain control, making sure she remains the center of his emotional world and pushing the other wives further into the background. This dysfunction didn't just damage their family, it distorted the reality that viewers saw on screen, creating a warped version of love, loyalty, and family. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the network has played a role in enabling this dysfunction? Could the producers have intervened? Or were they just there to capture the drama? What are your thoughts on Cody and Robyn's relationship dynamics and the long-term effects on the other wives? Drop your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. I love hearing what you all think about the behind-the-scenes drama and the complex relationships on this show. If you want more behind-the-scenes looks into the truth behind the drama and deeper dives into the real stories of sister wives, make sure to subscribe to TLC's Sister Wives Secret. I'll keep bringing you the latest breakdowns of the show's most shocking moments, exposing the truth you might not have noticed. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.